Hello, I am here today to help you make this hood. It is called the Siren's Call Hood by EarthTricks. This video is going to go over how to make bobble stitches, the Catherine's wheel motif, surface stitching, and other elements of construction that appear in this hood. This hood also has two finishing options. This is the faux fur option, and this is the regular trim option. So in round one, you did your starting chain, you just worked 15 DCs, and now we're in the last two chains of our starting chain. Here, we're going to increase DC. So that means I'm going to work 2 DCs in the same stitch. And then in this last chain, we're going to work 4 DCs, and we're actually going to turn, and the rest of our row is worked along the starting chain again. So it's sort of like we're doing like one arch. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here's my 4 DCs in that last chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here is where I increased. And I'm going to increase in there again. 1, 2. And I'm going to work the rest of this row into my starting chain again. And you can see I'm also just tucking in my tail because, you know, why not? So in round 3, we're going to be doing back post DC all the way around our arch. And so when you start, you don't fasten on through the stitch. You fasten on around the post of your first stitch. And then to work the back post DC, instead of working in between your loops like you normally would, you're looping over and then you're wrapping around the posts of the previous row. And that's fun because it creates this nice little ridge. It's a really cool textural detail. For row 5, we're using the same loop that you did not fasten off. You single crochet through the top of your bobble, and then you're going to use the front loops that you left open to work this row. And by stitching in just the front loops, you are covering up your single crochets between your bobbles. This is also called the hidden bobble stitch. Not because the bobbles are hidden, but because their connecting stitches are hidden. Now, if you did not work these single crochets in the back loops, you're going to end up seeing this row, and you know what? Maybe that's a stylistic choice. Maybe you do like how that looks, connecting your bobbles. So, you know, I wouldn't say it's a make or break deal. Now, depending on the kind of yarn that you're using, you might find that this creates a little bit of a gap here. If you're using like a thinner, bulky weight yarn, if you find that happening, you can grab the front loops of both your single crochet and the front loops of row 5, and you can pull through both of them. You still can't see our hidden stitches, but if you loop through both of those and pull through both those loops, you get a little bit of a more secure attachment there, and then you won't get any gaps forming there. So starting at row 10 and over the next 4 rows, we're going to be working a motif called Catherine's Wheel. So row 10 begins with chain 3, and then in this starting stitch, we're going to work 3 more DCs. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. In the 4th stitch, we single crochet, 1, we do it again, 2, and 1 last time, 3. We're going to skip 3 stitches again, 1, 2, 3, and then in this 4th stitch, we're going to work 7 DCs all into that stitch, and that's going to make the bottom of our wheel shape. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. So I have that nice semicircle shape now. I skip 3 DCs again. Skip 3 stitches again. 1, 2, 3. And in that 4th stitch, I work my next single crochet. 1, 2, 3. So we're starting row 11 in a new color. We are fastening on to where we just finished row 10, and we're going to start with a chain 3, and then we're going to DC 3 together over 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then we pull our loop through all 3 of those stitches. Then we have a chain 3, and we SC in the next stitch. We do 1, 2, 3 single crochets. And now we're going to fill in our next half wheel. So we're going to, along this whole ridge here, we're going to DC 7 together. So that starts with a chain 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we pull through those 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And we continue with our next single crochet. Actually repeating row 10, so we're making our upper semicircle again. So it starts with a chain 1 and 1 SC. We're going to skip 3, so 1, 2, 3. And here in the center of our wheel is where we're going to work our 7 DC. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. we skip our chain 3, and we're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3 in our single crochets. And we're going to repeat that around, and it makes our full wheel. So row 13 mirrors what you did here in round 11. We're going to start with a chain 3. We're going to DC 3 together over 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3. Pull all the way through, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to fill in our semicircle. That starts with a chain 3. We DC 7 together across all of these stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We pull all the way through and we chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So we've now filled in our wheels. So this is optional, but you can surface stitch around your wheels just to give it like a cool sort of outline. And if you've never done surface stitching before, you want to do your regular starting loop. You're going to hold it behind or in the back of your fabric, and you're going to pull it through a starting stitch. Now, surface stitching is really just slip stitching, but you're holding your yarn behind your fabric and you're pulling your loops up through your fabric. So you go back, you grab your yarn, and you pull it through. And you're just working slip stitches through your fabric. See? Now I like to just follow the space between my 2 colors. That makes it pretty easy to create my outline. At the end of row 15, this is where we convert from working in rows to working in rounds. And what that means is we're actually going to turn our hood, and you're going to start working across the bottom of the hood. So once you've gotten to the end of what we've been calling our rows, we're going to make our first little corner here. So in this last stitch, we just did a back post DC. We're going to work 1 more DC. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 2 more HDCs. Nope, I fucked that up. Once you've worked all the way across the bottom, you've worked 42 HDCs, and we're just going to close up this round. So right here where you fastened on at the start of this round, in this space we're going to work 1, 2 HDCs, chain 1, DC, and then you're going to slip stitch and fasten off. And so your little chain one space here is going to create the corner of the hood, and you have one at each side. In these two corners, you're going to be working into 2 stitches, chain 1, 2 stitches for all of the following rounds. So from round 16 on, you can really fasten on anywhere on your round. As long as each time you approach your little corner here, in that chain 1 space, you're going to do 2 stitches. So for round 16, that's 2 DCs, chain 1, 2 more DCs. When I work my next round, that's going to be the little space that I work into. So as you're working from round 16 on, you're doing straight across each of the sides, and this corner is the only place that you're increasing.